I'll say that it's been pretty stagnant in my area, which has been shocking for a couple of months. And so I had a client I've been working with for some time now, and he wanted to purchase land, which he bought 10 acres, and then he wants to do a modular home. And I thought, darn, I probably don't get commission on that. And you do. Because I sent him three different people, and there's a place out of Waco, and they build it to code and everything. And so I'm going to get commission on that, which was great. So that's just an FYI for everybody. You never know. So instead of it being a $200,000 sale, it'll be, 450.
It's awesome. That's awesome. More wins.
Well, I recently turned down a listing and that felt really good. Client was just not in tune with where the pricing needs to be, and I'm not wasting my time on people who just want to sell. They need to sell right now. They need to be real sellers.
2025 is not the time to test the market, is it?
It is not.
I actually have a win this week, and I was questioning myself. I had a listing consultation, and the sellers said, we've sold a lot of houses, and the most we've ever paid in commission is 5% total. I said, well, my fee's going to start at 3%, and you're looking at staging, we're going to be at 3.5%. And I'm going to front the staging on there. And they kind of, or no, we only pay 5% total. I said, well, maybe I'm not the agent for you, but understand that in this price range, that 30 to 35% of the properties are not selling right now. And my question is for you, I have the track record. How much is it going to cost you not to hire me? And I sat on it for a day. We'd sent the listing contract over, and it came back last night. So they were paying the 3.5%. So always know your value proposition and stick to your guns. Sometimes that is a really big thing. Like to really get into today's meeting, we got a special guest, Wendy Forsythe. Wendy is the CMO of eXp Realty. And Wendy, we met like a year ago in Seattle, and I was looking at your LinkedIn, and you are one of the few career real estate people that I know. I see your LinkedIn. Did you start in 1994? Was that when you first started?
I did. I actually, you're dating me, Jeff.
Well, I got my license in 99.
Uh, I got my real estate license when I was, excuse me, when I was in college, and I was studying my business degree. And my dad is a builder and still is a builder today, builds custom new homes. And he encouraged me when I was studying business. I thought I was going to be an accountant and was sort of waffling on whether or not I wanted to sort of be a number cruncher as my profession. Thought I was going to be a CPA, and had a really great marketing professor and was really loving my marketing electives. So was sort of, saying to dad, like, Dad, like, I think like marketing and I was like human resources. And I think that would be like a lot more fun than accounting. Like, I don't know, like I was taking like taxation and managerial accounting. And I was like, Dad, like, I don't know about this like accounting thing. Like, I can't see like, sitting at a desk, like crunching numbers, like, I don't know. And he was like, well, Wendy, if you think that you want to do this, like he didn't really know like what marketing meant. And he was like, what type of job would that like lead to? And I was like, well, I don't know. Like I could be like a business person. And like I'm like, a kid in college, right? Like I'm gonna be a business person. And he was like, okay, well, if you want to be a business person, you're gonna have to learn how to be a salesperson. So why don't you go get your real estate license? And it just so happens that like I am opening up a new development and I have built a spec home, and you could sit open houses during your summer break and, see if you have an aptitude for sales. Because if you're going to be in business, you're going to have to learn how to be a salesperson. And, this would be a good, trial run. And if you could just sell one house this summer, you'll make more money than you would make during your sort of summer job. And this will be a good test for you to see if this is like the right direction for you in your studies. So that is how I started my real estate career. So I got my license that spring, sat open houses in the spec house the entire summer, sold a bunch of houses that summer, went back to school in the fall, switched my major from accounting into marketing and human resources, finished school with my degree, but kept selling real estate. And when I finished my degree, my peers were going off to their internships, and I was making way more money than they ever thought of making. And I was like, I am selling real estate, and have been in the real estate industry ever since. Thank you for the hand clapping. Jeff, you're on mute. But I see Mike giving me
I
a
am.
round of applause.
Not a bad summer job for a college kid, huh?
It wasn't a bad gig at all. It wasn't. It's turned out pretty well.
That's awesome. So when you're starting, we have agents here. They're, new agents. We have seasoned agents, personal branding. 2025, how should agents be thinking about branding? There's so many voices going on and competing people online. So what's your best advice for agents in branding?
Yeah, it has. I mean, it's never been more important. So, it's funny you asked me about sort of my origin story starting out in the 90s. In the 90s, we didn't have the internet like we do today. And it was a very different time. So we didn't have the branding discussion, and how we got our name out there was very different. We are so lucky today that we have social media, that we have the ability to build brand without having to pay the money that we had to pay back in the old days of the 90s, of the 2000s. We can use the tools that are available to us through the internet to build brand. The question then is, how do we use those tools? And I think that is where, we have the opportunities. So, where I always advise agents to start with that is to lean into where your natural strengths lie. And if you're a new agent starting out, look at wherever you have spent time and effort prior to your real estate world online. So if you're coming into real estate and you have already, a following and a footprint on Facebook, start now pivoting that now into your real estate story. If you already have a footprint on TikTok, start to think now how you'd pivot that into your real estate story. If you already have a footprint on LinkedIn, start to think about now how you make that pivot. If it's on Instagram, start to think how you make that pivot. So whichever of the social media platforms you already have a footprint, start to think about what that pivot begins to look like. And then you can start to strategize on how the pivot begins to happen. Now, most recently, what has happened is we've had the introduction of artificial intelligence. So AI has come on and now has changed the game for us. So, a year ago, even 6 months ago, what I'm about to say next, I wouldn't have been saying. But now what I'm about to say next is you can go to ChatGPT or one of your favorite LLMs, the learning models, and I use ChatGPT the most. And you could go to a tool like ChatGPT and you could say, You could give it a prompt and you could start to use ChatGPT like your coach. So ChatGPT can become your marketing branding coach. And you can say, ChatGPT, I'm a brand new real estate agent. I have 300 friends on Facebook. I now want to start to pivot my Facebook account and my friends on Facebook to begin to share my real estate story and to start to expand and grow my real estate brand. Start to coach me on how I do that. And that's the beginning of using ChatGPT now as your marketing and branding coach. So, I mean, just the things that, ChatGPT has now brought to the table to allow us to do is incredible. And you can even use ChatGPT, and I've named my ChatGPT. So my ChatGPT is called Chatty G. So Chatty G. So I would say to my Chatty G, I could say to Chatty G, coach me like Gary V. So Gary Vaynerchuk is, if that is a personality that I might emulate, or somebody that I think like, okay, this person, like I read his books, I follow him on social. He is a guru. He's a master of social media. I can say to Chatty G, coach me like Gary V. I want his strategies. So Chatty G, give me Gary V's strategies. And Chatty G will then like pull out those strategies. So it's just phenomenal, like the tools we all have now at our fingertips to help us grow our brands. So that's the advice that I would share now, which is different than 6 months ago. I wouldn't have had that like last part to share in using ChatGPT as a coach and thought partner, as a branding partner.
Yeah, it's amazing how AI came into our business. One of the things that we're seeing in, especially on the MLS, and once you start seeing it, you can't unsee it, is that agents are just using ChatGPT and cutting and pasting right into the MLS, or not, it's not their voice. And once you start recognizing it, you just spot it really quick. And it's not the agent voice. What mistakes are you seeing that agents are doing in branding that's costing them business?
Yeah, I mean, you called out one that I think that we're all seeing, and I call it, you can smell it on the scroll, right? So you're scrolling on your phone and you see that like copy and paste, and like you smell it on the screen, right? It's just like, oh, that's bad. So don't do that, you guys. Because we're all recognizing that, and that's really lazy marketing, right? That's lazy branding, that's lazy marketing. And that is the last thing that AI is intended to do, that any sort of technology is intended to do. So, you know, the use of technology can make us better marketers, and ChatGPT can certainly make us a better marketer. And that is how we should think about using ChatGPT, is how to be a partner. So how I think about framing and using ChatGPT as a marketing tool, and this is how our marketing team here at EXP is using it as a marketing tool, is we think of it as, we as the people, we are the thought leaders, right? Like we're the people with the thoughts, we're the people with the ideas. The robots are our thought partners. So they can help us think through the ideas, they can help us improve upon the ideas. So when we think of our listing remarks, we the people have seen the listings, we're the experts in the properties, we are the people with the emotions that understand that real estate decisions are emotional decisions that humans are making, mostly about where they're going to live, right? Like we're dealing mostly with like where people's homes are, assuming like we're not talking about investors, right? Like where families are going to live. So when we're writing listing remarks, those emotional parts of it are really important. The robots can help us polish the writing, think through the writing. They can be good editors. They can be good ghost writers. So that's how you should think about how the robots can help us, how ChatGPT can help us. When we just are lazy marketers and like type in the address and tell ChatGPT to write the listing remarks and copy and paste it, we're not being thought leaders. We're not being leaders, right? And that's the like key word in that phrase is leaders, and we're not taking a leadership role. So when our clients are hiring us to do a job, they're hiring us to be a thought leader in that. So I think we should take that really seriously in all aspects, including things as simple as writing remarks. And I think that carries through every part of what we do in representing them in the sale of their property. So that is how I sort of frame thinking about how to use the technology to support what we do as marketers in representing property, and just extending that just as marketers in general, because everything that we do involves marketing, whether we're talking about our brands, whether we're talking about the properties that we represent, whether we're talking about, anything that we do, everything has a marketing element to it.
When you talk about talking to ChatGPT, I think so many people they sit down and they like, I don't know where to start.
Mhm.
And you just sometimes you just start, sometimes you ask it, hey, I want to do this. What do you need to know?
Yes.
And it'll tell you.
Yeah.
So, that's one of the things that I've learned playing with AI is if you're stuck, just ask. Hey,
Yes.
I want to write a listing. What are you seeing best practices? What 10 questions do you have for me to write one of the best listing remarks that's out there? And that'll help you a lot. Um, Lead generation right now, what it's changing so much the way people get leads. And what's working best right now for agents across the EXP market that you're seeing?
Oh gosh, I mean, there is so much, and you're right, it is changing quickly. I think particularly with AI, I think one of the things that I think we're learning a lot about that is changing, that I think it is important for all of you to have on your radars, is the shift from people using Google to search to people using ChatGPT and the other learning models to search. So ChatGPT is becoming like where people go to search. So search engine optimization, or SEO, used to be what we used to lean in on to say, like, you want to make sure you show up on Google, that your like SEO is working, so that if somebody is searching real estate agent in Austin, that your name shows up, or if they're searching a particular market in Austin, your name shows up. And we used to think about like how on your website, how on your social media, how on your profiles on portals like Zillow or Realtor.com or Homes.com, you showed up on all of those places, so that on Google, the algorithms gave you, I'm going to call it points, so that you returned on the first page of Google on those search results. Well, all of that is getting turned on its head now with the ChatGPT and the LLM searches. So we're shifting to understanding what it means to show up in the sort of ChatGPT searches. So understanding what that means for each of us and pivoting to that, I think, is an important thing that we should all have on our radars in our businesses. So what does that mean? And what should we be thinking about that? Go to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT, what should I be doing to my online profile to show up in a ChatGPT search? And it will tell you what pivots you should be making in your websites, in your profiles, in your social media profiles, so that you are indexing in the LLM searches to show up. But I would put that very high on my to-do list moving into the fall market. And I would keep that on my to-do list over the next sort of 3 to 6 months, because those algorithms are changing really, really quickly. And I think that is one of the almost challenging things that is happening right now is the change curve. It's not even a curve, like it is like a straight line up with how quickly things are changing. When ChatGPT launched ChatGPT 5 a few weeks ago, the advancements from ChatGPT 4 to ChatGPT 5 like were so like outperformed anyone's expectations, the improvements and the sort of bells and whistles that they came out with. I mean, it's mind blowing how quickly it is all moving. But that is definitely one of the things that you want to keep a close eye on and make sure that you are understanding and tweaking all of your profiles to understand that shift in search between Google and ChatGPT search.
GEO is the new SEO, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I was watching a podcast just this morning, and they were talking about users of Perplexity
Mhm.
and how much more likely they are to buy once they go into Perplexity to research something. So, being in understanding the different models and how people search them is definitely really big there.
Yeah.
That's really good stuff. When we met last year in Seattle, you were getting ready to launch. You gave us a preview of the new EXP websites and how you're bringing everything together and the look and the feel and why this was going to work. Tell people a little bit about it because they might not even know you have a new website. Some of them.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So if you haven't checked out exprealty.com lately, please go check it out. A website is a living, breathing thing, and particularly our national brand website. There's a lot of, I would say, questions about like, do consumers still go to brokerage websites? Do consumers still go to your individual websites? Do you even need an agent website? And the answer to that is like, yes, you still do need those websites. And yes, consumers do still visit those websites. So we are constantly working on our exprealty.com website on your behalf, because agents will go when you're going on a listing appointment. Agents are going and they're looking at your information online. They're looking on how you show up online on your social media profiles. They're Googling you, which now like shows up on ChatGPT, which means they're ChatGPTing you, they're grokking you. All of those things are now interconnected, which goes back to our previous conversation. But you want to make sure that what they're seeing is a great representation of you. And the EXP Realty website is an extension of that. So make sure your information is up to date on your pages on that website. We want to make sure that that website is a great representation of our brand. So we put a significant investment into modernizing the website, ensuring that it had a look and feel that felt very sort of 2025, with movement, with video, with updated messaging on who EXP is as a brand, as a company, with an ability to search for all of you, with an ability to search for all of our markets, with information to easily collect globally. One of the things that I think that oftentimes we don't realize is how much business happens around the world. And real estate, really, as much as the old adage is real estate is local and global today at the same time. And I know you all deal with it. How many of you have dealt with an out-of-country buyer or seller this year? Yeah, I see the head shaking and the hands and go up. Like we're dealing more and more with that. So that ability to have that connection, like through the web, locally and globally at the same time. Same, by the way, from an attraction perspective for our rev share organizations. Like we have that ability. So the website is an important part of that, and our websites all connect us locally and globally. So yeah, significant amount of always working on our websites and keeping them. I joke with our team, keeping them watered and fed is part of what we do behind the scenes all the time.
It's super important with the website because I think that EXP is agents. The
Yeah,
agents all
take
really
a look
know
at it.
so much. Oh, this, the
Mhm.
agents, EXP, the name for agents has grown so much, but a lot of the consumers still, it might be new for them. So having a great website, having forward-facing tools like that, super important. Are there any other things that we're looking at doing with EXP to forward face for the consumer?
Yeah, I think that, I mean, we're always working on things. We have put a significant investment over the last year into increasing our profile from a public relations perspective. So one of the things that we did in I guess it was early 2024, really sort of kicked in mid 2024. So we're coming onto like a full year now, is we hired our first public relations firm and really started to put a push on extending our voice into thought leadership for the industry. And doing that from a perspective of when a CNBC, when a CNN, when a Market Watch, when one of those media outlets wanted to know what is happening in the real estate market, we wanted to start to position EXP as one of the voices that they came to talk to about the real estate market. We are the largest brokerage in the country by transaction count, by sides. We sell more real estate than any other brokerage out there. Like we know what's happening in the markets. They should be talking with us. So we very actively have moved into that thought leadership perspective. And that very much is to gain authority in consumers' minds and in consumers' sort of minds and hearts, right? In a very sort of strategic thought leadership perspective. And we'll continue to do that. And we've gained significant media coverage for Leo Correa, our CEO, is our spokesperson for that. And Leo does a number of media tours and has been on all of the major media outlets. He just was in New York a couple weeks ago. He'll be in New York in a couple weeks again, sort of going through sort of the major media. It's a significant part of his day to day is now talking to media about what's happening in the market. We are, anxiously awaiting what happens with interest rates and, what the announcements of, what's coming up. So there's a constant churn behind the scenes with our sort of PR and investor relations team working on those sort of opportunities and pitching our voice and thought leadership around that.
I've been with EXP now for 8 years. Just had our 8-year anniversary on September 1st. So when when I first joined EXP, I was talking to one of the leaders at EXP, and they said, we have meetings and we get pitched these great ideas from these companies, and they say, well, how are we going to pay for this? And it was, well, you'll monetize the agent, and they throw them out of the room. The value prop, I guess, when we first came over was, hey, we're an online brokerage. We have a revenue share plan, which was totally new. But there's been so much more brought with the agent value proposition, healthcare, so many things where I personally can't keep up with them. And I think you had a really good strategy on how to show everybody the value proposition with the toolkits. Can you talk a little bit about the toolkits for
Yeah.
the agents that don't know about them?
Yeah, so if you don't know about them, the idea behind the toolkits was, you know, I describe it as, coming to EXP is like going to like the best all you can eat buffet in like somewhere like Las Vegas, or on like the best 5-star like cruise ship vacation that you've ever been on or something. Like it's just like the best like food ever, right? But you can't eat it all, and you don't want to eat it all during one sitting, right? But how do you find what you want when you want it? So that sometimes is challenging, right? Jeff, to your point, like there can be so much, it's almost overwhelming. And I know when I joined EXP, as I was getting to know everyone and to know our value proposition, one of the things, and it still happens to me today, agents will come up to me and they'll say, you know what, Wendy, it would be really great if we had this. And I would be like, you know what, it would. And I would go back to the team, and I would go to, the broker team, or I would go to the technology team, and I'd be like, one of the agents just told me we should have this. And they'd be like, oh yeah, Wendy, we have that. Here it is, it's there. And I'd be like, oh, well, they don't know we have that. So it still is a challenge, right? Is to try to organize everything that we have in this amazing buffet of EXP in a way that you guys can find it. So we came up with this idea of toolkits, of like, how do we organize things together in toolkits? Kind of like putting like all the salads over here and all the meats over here and all the desserts over there. So all of these different toolkits. So that is the idea of toolkit. So you'll find like an attraction toolkit that has all of the tools that you might use if you're trying to grow your revenue share line. So anything related to revenue share, you're going to find in the attraction toolkit. You're going to find a seller's toolkit. So anything that you might need, any tool that you might need around getting a listing and working with your sellers, you're going to find in the seller's toolkit. There's a buyer's toolkit. So anything related to working with buyers, you're going to find in that buyer's toolkit. So there's all kinds of different toolkits that have all a grouping of tools, resources, information around a particular topic. And there's a number of different ways you can get to toolkits. My favorite way is to get to the toolkits by going into your My EXP. So if you go into My EXP on the left-hand side, you're going to see the resources tab. And under resources, you'll see the toolkits button. And you can click there and you'll see a drop down, or you'll see a page will open with all the different toolkits all labeled there for you. So that's my favorite way, because you're all in My EXP all the time for your transactions and everything that you're doing. So that's my favorite way. You can also, if you don't happen to be in My EXP, but you just want to go into a direct landing page, Elizabeth just posted it in the chat. You can go to the direct landing page, which is just landing.exprealty.com/toolkits. And that will take you just directly to the landing page. So different ways to get there so that you can get there directly to the toolkits.
Awesome. Awesome. EXPCon's coming around the corner here. It's, I can, everyone would say it's never going to be this small again, and they just get bigger and bigger, right? Huge events for the company. How should agents approach events like this to maximize their value and relationships within their peers at EXP?
Well, first thing is you got to be there, right? So I hope that we'll see you all there. We're on the final countdown. We've got a great event planned this year. It really is about connecting in person. I mean, nothing replaces being together in person and that ability to have those hallway conversations, to meet each other, in the general session, and have those sort of conversations in the breakout rooms. And as powerful and as much energy as we pour into the content, and as much value as we know you're going to get from all of the speakers, and we have amazing speakers who, pour into sharing everything that they share. They open up, like our best agents open up their businesses and everything that is working, in running their businesses and keeping everything that they do in their lives, sharing the best of the best with all of you. It really is about that community and that connection that happens when you're there. And like that is just something that it is the best. It is the best part that I don't even have the words to describe, but it is a special experience to be a part of. And I hope that I'll be there to experience it with us. We've got some really cool things planned this year. Our opening party is going to be super cool. Got some special surprises there. Our closing beach party. Last year, we had planned a beach party, but the weather didn't cooperate, so we had to pull it inside. This year, the weather is going to cooperate. We're going to have an amazing beach party out on the Miami beachfront. So we're super excited about that. Our keynote speaker is Mindy Kaling. Mindy has a super cool story. She is an actress, she is a writer, she is a director, she has overcome some really interesting odds. I think probably most of us that struggle with that sort of like, can I do this? Can I build a business? Can I, overcome that sort of imposter syndrome that we all have in between? Like, will I ever sell another house? Will I ever get another listing? Could this be the last buyer? I think we'll really relate to, what she's going to share with us. So I'm excited to have her on stage. And we've got more of our own EXP agents sharing stories and insights on the main stage than we've ever had before. So I'm just super thrilled, and we are on the countdown. So it's in my world and in our team's world right now, it is all things EXP all the time.
It's having the agents share and relevant experience of what's going on in a shifting market today. There, a couple of years ago, EXP introduced tracks with
Mhm.
an EXP Con. You want to talk a little bit about that and what they can expect and how they can go into different tracks?
Yeah, so we have several different tracks. I think we have 7 different tracks, and these are for our breakout sessions. So the way the content of the conference is broken up is we have general sessions and we have breakout sessions. So in the general sessions, those are the big sessions that we're all together. So thousands of us, 5 to 6,000 of us are together all in one room. And those are the big lights, cameras, big stage moments that we call general session. And then in between the general sessions are the breakout sessions where there are tracks. So at the breakout sessions there, you'll be able to decide like which track am I interested in, which helps you as an attendee just decide between, because there's so many different sessions going on at the same time. So the breakout sessions happen concurrently. So you can say, okay, here is a lead generation track. Well, I'm interested in, strengthening my lead gen skills. Here's an attraction track. I'm interested in growing my rev share. So I want to look at the attraction topics for those breakout sessions. Here's a working with sellers track. I'm interested in, growing my skills around my listing strengths. So I want to like look at some of the sessions that are in that track. So you'll be able to, on the app, which we have an app for the event, quickly organize and filter through the tracks and go through the breakouts, and then you can bookmark and build out your schedule for the conference very easily by filtering through the tracks. So it's a way to organize sort of the lots of the different content that is going on so that you can build out your schedule and make sure that you're getting to attend the sessions that are of the highest value for you in your business.
The education here is unmatched. I've never seen anything like it. I've been in national brokerage, I've been in boutique brokerages, and I when I came here and started collaborating with people, I had no idea, even when I was with another national brokerage, what a lone wolf I actually was in this industry. To have meetings like this, EXP and EXP University, which I know has been another huge undertaking here.
Mhm.
Um, Talk a little bit about EXP University and how it can help the new agents, the seasoned agents, and what's over there.
Yeah, I mean, EXP University is like, I think one of our like marquee just resources that we have for agents at all levels. Like whether you're new, a team leader, like go check out the programming and the training that we have there. Because it really is such a great resource to be able to have for your business. So, if whether it's just on demand, so one of the things I encourage agents all the time, and I think about it in just all levels of our life. I'm guessing you guys have had this experience too. Like, do you ever sort of like look at your business and just think like, oh, I used to do that and then I stopped and it worked really well, and I don't know why I stopped doing it. And then like you get reminded, usually at a conference like an EXP con or on a call like this, or somewhere where somebody else like is doing something and you're like, I used to do that in my business and it worked really well and I stopped. And though that sort of refresher content and that like staying sharp content, the on-demand content that EXP University has is so great for that, like just keeping the conditioning of our muscles, right? I think of it as like going to the gym. Like we've got to go to the gym, right? Like we have to like stay strong and stay in shape. And that is, I think, one of the great things that EXP University does. Then I think there's like, how do we grow new muscles, right? And how do we continue to learn? And that is where the development courses, I think, are so fabulous, where the team is always working with our top agents. And this is one of the things that I just had a conversation yesterday with Brian Ellington, who's our chief learning officer, about this. This is one of the key things that we do really differently is we're not working from history when we're developing our education. We're working from today. So, Jeff, we started talking about, when I sold real estate, 25 years ago. And yes, a lot of the sales principles still apply, but it's a different market. So, Megan was talking about pricing. So, like how I presented pricing 20 years ago is very different than how you guys are presenting pricing today. So, you don't want to hear how I did a pricing presentation 25 years ago. What you guys need to hear right now is how to present a pricing presentation right now in 2025 in your market. So, what we do with EXP University is we're interviewing you guys out in the field right now about what's working and how you're presenting price and how to talk about price in 2025 in today's market. And that is how we're developing training and sharing it with you from today's experts in today's market. And that's one of the beauties of our culture here at EXP is that our agents are willing to share that, and we're able to package that and share it then with all of you. And that is a real important differentiator for all of us because the market is changing and we need to stay current on those things. And we need to be able to talk to our clients about what's happening now. And so to stay current on that and to develop that muscle is a real important strength for all of you to lean into, especially right now as we move into the fall market.
It's interesting how it does change all the time, and even to have the seasoned agents out there that can say, hey, we have this old playbook over here that we can bring in today and modify it this way, and reinvent it is great. And I think that the agents here are so open to sharing. I have one more question for you before we open it up to everybody, because I'm sure they have some questions for you. If you could give agents one piece of advice to act on after this meeting tomorrow morning, what would it be?
Um, it would be around the pricing conversation that we just had. If you could see the notebook that I have in front of me, I wrote down some like notes like going into like the meeting. And the first note that I put for sort of topics for us to talk about is like get your pricing conversations right. Pricing is like the most important conversation that you all need to be having with your clients right now, whether working with your sellers or working with your buyers. Like really lean into like role playing that conversation, understanding what's happening in your market and understanding how you're going to have that conversation with your clients, because your clients, your sellers are, convinced that like it's a different market that it is. And your buyers are convinced it's a different market that it is. And you've got to talk to them both about the real market that they're in today and align those expectations. So that talk track for you is going to be really important in saving you time, saving you frustration, and that relationship that you have with your clients. And I think it's one of the most powerful skills that you can develop right now in today's current market that will mean a world of difference in your business.
The the buyers thinks it's 2009 and the sellers think it's 2021, and we have to bring them into the right spot. And
That's the cliche. I was avoiding saying the cliche.
yeah, I know.
Yes.
But it's so true today. Everybody thinks, oh, there's blood, and other people are saying, no, we have something here, and there's a housing shortage.
Yeah.
And even though
Just
that we have some,
lean into the data. I mean, lean into the data, pull that data from your MLSs. I mean, if it's where you can get very specific, right? If you're going into a listing presentation and just get very specific with your pricing presentation on that. And even with your buyers, right? Like just pull those CMAs for your buyers and get very specific. But understand that market data for the markets that you're working in. And then, yeah, just really practice those talk tracks, because those are really important talk tracks to have in your business right now.
we're seeing a 30% failure rate in listings in not the us, but in the industry here in Orlando, and it's overpriced. It's overpriced listings there. So I think that pricing is probably the most important thing to do on both sides, and I appreciate that. I'd love to open it
Can I
up.
just add on
Yeah,
to that, Jeff?
please.
Don't give up either, right? Like if you don't get the listing because of price, stay in touch with those people, right? Like fierce follow up, like fierce follow up. Like I love alliterations. That's the marketer in me. I love a good alliteration, but fierce follow up. Like you need to like have that conversation, particularly with mortgage rates right now coming down. Every time a mortgage rate changes, I would be communicating what that means in terms of a monthly payment change. Because particularly your buyers, and particularly if you're working with first-time home buyers, they are so sensitive to the monthly payment. I would be doing that math on what that means in a monthly payment, and I would be sharing that change. But fierce follow-up. Think about like personalizing that follow-up and fierce follow-up all the way through.
It's a great time to be the second or third agent on a listing. It totally is. Okay, you tried that. Now let's no, no, let's do something that works.
Yeah.
All right, questions for everyone. Jessica, you have your hand up.
Hey, Wendy, I'm Jessica here in Austin. Good to see you. I cut my teeth 21 years ago on expired withdrawn FSBOs, so I can appreciate what you're saying. Quick question, maybe for anyone that might be newer. When you're saying, hey, you go on this listing appointment and whether you don't want to take it and decline, or they don't hire you, but they list with someone else. I'm assuming we are still not able to keep marketing to them, like you're saying, staying in touch while they're listed. So tell me if I'm missing anything or if there's a better angle.
Yeah, I mean, if they list with someone else, like yes, you got to follow all the rules. So
All right.
yes. But if they so if they list with someone else and they expire, as Jeff was saying, then you want to like definitely be in touch with that. But if they list with someone else, you definitely can do I wish you all the best. I'm curious, what could I have done differently? What feedback could you give me? And that is a great follow-up point. So you want to hear from them. It's like, oh, it was price. So, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, if we could have agreed on price, would there have been any other reason that you wouldn't have hired me to represent you in the sale of your home? Okay, so you want to try with the other agent on price. I completely understand that. Could you do me a favor? If it doesn't sell at their price and the listing ends, would you give me another shot at a different price? Can we talk again? Like you almost are doing the like pre-close, right? Of like, give me your word that we can talk again at the end of the listing if it doesn't sell. I hope it sells, but if it doesn't sell, can we talk again before you, like at the end of the listing if it doesn't sell? So you can do that sort of like, let's talk again, and then do the fierce follow-up. Put it in your follow-up, watch for the expiry.
Perfect. Thank you.
Another hand here.
Hi, Wendy. Hi, Jeff.
Hey,
Hi, Jen.
Elizabeth.
I'm sorry, guys. I was late, but I've been on this whole time. I was just trying to be quiet. Wendy, I just want to say, where did you go? I don't know where you went. Well, I don't know where you are. Oh, there we go. I'm in Phoenix. Guys, I just want you to understand what a gift we have with our corporate teams and with Wendy. I mean, here's the reality. She's somebody that I've gotten to know over the years, but we have such a strong marketing team and they're so behind the scenes. And a lot of times you don't see all the efforts, but she just shared all these things that they put together at our fingertips. And so, Wendy, I just want to say thank you for you and your amazing team and everything you guys do. And then also just for saying yes to come on our huddle, right? I mean, this is so cool and how accessible our corporate teams are. They're not corporate. They're our partners. They're our relationships. They're our community. So Wendy, I just wanted to acknowledge you and say thank you for saying yes to coming on with all of us this morning. And we appreciate everything you and your team are doing.
You're welcome.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Scott.
Hey, Jeff, how are you? Hey, Wendy. I just wanted to share an experience. I had we bought a car at Kia and it was kind of neat. We did a lot of the research online. We bought a Sorento. So there was which is kind of neat about EXP too. It's a new company. It had a bad reputation at the beginning. It was kind of, it's come a long way. So anyway, the guy who was dealing with us was from Mercedes-Benz. And so he talked to us. We kind of knew what we wanted to get. And so then we sat down, and this is about pricing. So we sat down with him, and then he got some stuff. We told him what model we wanted to get. And so then he had something getting printed up while he stayed talking with us. The form came in about the pricing, and they brought it over to him, and he just kind of went over the options with us, and it was so easy. So I just wanted to share that experience because we were very impressed. It was very easy, and we got out of there, and we were very happy with it. We didn't even really try to negotiate the pricing that much. It was just set up so perfectly. We just kind of slid right into it. So just wanted to share that.
Awesome.
When you prove your value and you show your value, it's not about price.
Wow.
Mr. Copeland.
Wendy, thanks for joining. I had to hop off for a chunk in between showings here, but we're on a amazing call with John Cheplack, who's such a great marketer. And one thing he really hounds us on is getting back to basics and simplicity. And with all this AI talk, which is amazing, we have to be aware of it, have to use it, have to implement it, because it'll make us be better and move faster. But what are you seeing working with basics that aren't AI, like emails? Can you give any tips, any touch points that are just connectors with our clients that don't have to do with automation and something we can implement ourselves? What are you seeing that's winning?
Yeah, I mean, I think that basic text emails. So what we're seeing is, and I don't know, Brian, if you were on for this part or not, but like you can use AI without it looking like AI. So I can use AI as like a ghostwriter, but it doesn't have to be like a fully designed, like iconed, dashed, like AI looking email. So it can be just a simple text email, which almost always converts way better than a marketing designed email. So I can use AI to help with that without making it look like an AI email. And I think that is, what John is doing a lot of with his, email and his content, and what a lot of a lot of the sort of the gurus are doing and leaning into. And we're seeing that across the board. YouTube as a platform has actually said in its algorithms and said to its monetization strategy that if anything is overly AI'd, it's not actually like monetizing it. So if you're a YouTube creator and you're like AI creating content, YouTube is not going to pay out and monetize or share that content because they want real, authentic content. So if you're like, hey, Jenning me talking and a video, YouTube is not going to share that video. They want a real video of me talking. They want like my real voice. They don't want an AI generated on that. And all of the platforms are starting to do that. So we're in a real sort of change where the distribution platforms are very quickly starting to throttle the robots to say, look, we don't want this to all be inauthentic robot content. This is about people. So, you can use the robots to help edit, as tools to help create, but we don't want the content to be the robots. We want the content to be the people. So like we're going through a change. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next 3 to 6 months. But generally speaking, what we're seeing in the testing we're doing is I'll give you and we're testing content all the time. We do this on our personal accounts. We do it on the brand accounts. We just Glenn Sanford just did it on like some stuff that he's doing that like an AI generated graphic got no engagement, didn't get fed anywhere. Like just Facebook did not share it anywhere because they don't want AI generated graphics. They want a picture of you. You put a picture of you on Facebook doing something, they'll show it to your friends. You put an AI generated graphic with some words on it, Facebook's like, that's not what your friends want to see. Your friends want to see you doing stuff in the world. That's what your friends want to see on Facebook. So that's the kind of stuff that is like that we're seeing.
Right, I see that a lot on the feeds. Like Leo, you're doing a lot of quote posts and stuff with real people on stage, and clearly that's working. So
yeah. I mean, we use our own personal accounts as A/B tests like daily for things on like what's working and what's not working. Like we're the real life like beta tests for the stuff that's going, and same with emails that we do. So yeah, we're living and breathing it every day. Like Glenn recently just did some posts of stuff where he was saying like, I did this and it didn't work. Why do you guys think it did? So it's just a lot of stuff is changing real time. Instagram just came out and said like they've got 8 different verticals of the algorithm that they are testing. Like there's 8 different types of the algorithm vertical that they're giving kind of scoring to that for each of us that they decide how they feed up content. So it's not getting any easier to decide if you're trying to, grow your following or grow your engagement. It's definitely interesting. So I guess what I say to that, because that all sounds very complicated, is it really doesn't have to be, right? Like, so if you just tell your story as a real estate agent, tell your story of what you're doing in your business out there day to day, and don't get too caught up in the algorithms and what the algorithms are doing and all of those other things. The people that follow you, that engage with you, are going to see your content. So it can get overly complicated and seem really like this is more than I want to figure out, but don't let it be. Just continue to share your story out there on the social platforms in your business. Share your expertise, share your value, people who you engage with. Because remember, you don't need hundreds of thousands of followers. You don't need tens of thousands of followers. You don't need to be an influencer. You just need a core group of people that you transact with in real estate. And that doesn't need to be a lot of people. It needs to be your sphere of influence who do transactions with you in your business to grow your business to the level that you need for you and your family. It will happen for you and your business. Just keep sharing your story out there.
Wendy, I want to thank you so much for coming here. Like, to just bring back what Elizabeth said, to have you here and to be so accessible to us, it really does show the true nature of this company and what we're all about. And it's about the agents, and for you guys just to be here and talk to us, it means the world for us. So thank
It's
you so
my
much.
pleasure, you guys. I am available to support any of you anytime. You can connect with me on Slack. Of course, you can connect with me on social, but reach out if I can ever support any of you. And I hope to see you all in Miami in a couple weeks.
Thank you, Wendy. We'll see you soon.
All right,
you.
take
Y'all
care.
have an amazing
care.
weekend. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.